Ahoy hoy, I'm Plain a Walk, and congratulations America on your new president, Bernard Sanders. Wait, what do you mean Bernie's not president? Well, who is president then? Wait, Trump got re-elected? Really? No, I mean, who's going to be the new president after Trump? What do you mean you don't know? Didn't the polls say that there was going to be a landslide victory or something? But in all seriousness, congratulations on electing Joe Biden. Now, as of recording this video, Joe Biden hasn't actually officially been elected, but it looks like he will be. Let's just hope that this video ages well between the time it's recorded and the time that it's uploaded. But I think that everyone can see that as of the time of recording this video, things are looking very favourable for Biden. Which of course has got some people freaking the fuck out. Because you see, Trump announced victory, and a lot of people that supported Trump thought, Trump's got this in the bag. But that didn't last. The reason being is that not all the votes were counted. You have to count all the votes before you announce victory. And as more and more votes got counted, especially the mail-in ballots, Trump's lead started to diminish, and in some states, Biden actually managed to overtake Trump. And with that, Trump decided to attempt a coup. I'm not joking, by the way. Essentially, Trump and his fan base want the ballot counters to stop counting because if they don't stop counting, Trump will lose. To be fair, if they stop counting now, Trump will also lose, but that's assuming that there's no faithless electors. And this holds true a couple of hours later. Look, System of a Down released a couple new songs and I had to listen to them multiple times, okay? But anyway, seeing Trump supporters huffing copious amounts of copium is both entertaining and sad at the same time. So does anyone remember 2016 when Trump won? And a lot of people were making fun of people that were going overboard in their reactions. Like these people.
I do not believe this is happening! Not my president! I'm literally about to fucking kill myself! Not my president!
If you're not fucking pissed right now, what is wrong with you?
Donald J. Trump is now President of the United States. President Obama is the ex-president. And Mr. Trump, for the moment, steps away.
Now, a lot of people, especially Trump supporters, will agree that those reactions are over the top and ridiculous, right? Now, I'd argue that what we're about to see is also over the top and ridiculous, possibly even more so over the top and ridiculous than what we just saw.
The Biden crime family stealing the election! The media's covering up! The Biden crime family stealing this election! Stop it now! Stop it now! Stop it now! 4 more years! 4 more years! 4 more years! We want Trump! We want Trump!
Oh, you want Trump, do you? Well, I'm sorry, but over half the voting population disagrees with you, so you don't get your way. That's just how democracy works. And yes, I am aware that not every Trump supporter is out protesting right now. There are some that are probably cringing at them. Just like in 2016, not every Hillary supporter was saying, "Not my president." It's just rather strange to me that over in America, because people didn't get their way, they are now protesting. Isn't the whole point of an election that not everyone can get their way, so they hold an election to decide who gets their way? Now, if it were just random people complaining about results of an election, then I wouldn't mind. In fact, in this video, I might as well complain about results of a referendum. Because why not? I have the right to. It is when people either overreact or get conspiratorial about it that I have an issue. Or when the President of the United States is getting conspiratorial about it. So surely everyone has heard by now that Donald Trump doesn't think that he lost fair and square. He's blaming it on mail-in ballots being fraudulent. Now, is there any evidence of this? Well, of course, because otherwise no one would be talking about it. But that does not mean that it's good evidence. Now, the evidence that people tend to point to is a couple of ballots found in a dumpster, or better yet, a video by Project Veritas. And Project Veritas, for those that don't know, is literally fake news. The reason why I call them fake news is because they have repeatedly edited videos in deceptive ways in order to push a narrative. And there are people that are also claiming that dead people are voting, because apparently someone born in the 1900s voted, and there's a photo of it. But I'm not sure if people realize this, but people aged 110 to 120 do exist, and I think they should be allowed to vote. Now, I haven't looked too much into that claim, however, I'm very doubtful that dead people voting is a widespread problem, especially considering that Trump and his die-hard supporters are latching to any conspiracy they can find to call votes fake news. And honestly, Trump's actions towards all this are rather scary, because these aren't the actions of someone that respects democracy. These are the actions of someone who wants to be a dictator. Now, I don't think that Donald Trump is going to be successful in his bid for power, especially considering that Biden is now leading in Georgia. Hell yeah. I just think that it's rather scary for a world leader who was arguably democratically elected to not respect a democratic process, especially when the democratic process in question was the democratic process that got him elected. And the reason why I say that Trump was arguably democratically elected rather than just saying that he was democratically elected is because if America was a pure democracy, Hillary would have won. However, I've been told multiple times that America is not a pure democracy and is instead a republic. However, I'd still argue that it does have democratic processes, even if I don't necessarily agree with the way that those democratic processes are implemented. However, getting back on topic, I think that the worst that Trump could do at this point is issue a recount, which might work in his favour. However, I personally don't think that a recount would work in his favour. Now, one thing that I don't really think would actually happen, but I suppose might be possible, would be if Trump were to go to the Supreme Court to somehow get the results of the election overturned. I don't think that would actually happen though. Now, if somehow that did manage to happen, I think that there'd be quite a few riots all across America that would actually make recent riots look like peaceful protests. Now, as I said, I don't think that will happen, and I sure hope it doesn't happen, because as I said, it would be scary if it does. But I think that Trump will at least try something, even if it does get shut down. And besides, let's say Trump were able to stop ballots from being counted. He's way too late on that, because even if they were to stop counting ballots, Trump still wouldn't win. So there's really nothing that Trump can do. At least not anything that I think would have a reasonable chance of succeeding. But anyway, that's my view. Wait, I said I was going to complain about something, so let me complain about something. Now, recently, New Zealand voted against legalizing recreational cannabis, which I'm disappointed about. Now, there are a number of factors that led to this, but the problem that I find with this is that for the next 3 to 6 years, and possibly even longer, this won't seem like an issue for New Zealand because, a lot of people voted against it. Now, there's been a lot of people that have been throwing blame around online, and sometimes you'll have national voters saying, well, it wasn't national voters that voted against legalizing it, it must have been the Labour voters. Or you've got people saying that it can't have been boomers that voted against legalizing it. However, both those groups are wrong. Depending on how you define the word boomer though, because some people don't use it the way that I do. Like, for the context of this, I'm actually going to use it to describe people over the age of 65, even though that's not strictly how it's supposed to be used. Now, statistically speaking, people that were over the age of 65, or people that voted national, were more likely to vote against legalizing marijuana. Now, that's not to say that everyone that voted national and was over the age of 65 voted against legalizing marijuana. It's just to say that they're more likely to. Now, of course, blaming people is actually pointless. But there is something to be learnt from some demographics, especially the fact that people that were over the age of 65 tended to vote against legalizing marijuana. What we can learn from this is as younger people start to enter the voting population and as older people start to pass away, the demographics of New Zealand will change to the point where most of the population will eventually be in favour of legalizing marijuana for recreational use. So because of this, I don't think that just because a majority of people voted no, that it should be a case closed, never legalise marijuana for recreational use in New Zealand because a lot of people decide to vote no. I think that eventually a lot of people will think that it would be a good idea. Maybe not now, but maybe in the future. Now, when exactly, I don't know. However, I don't think that we should just wait 10 years, because that seems like a rather bad idea, and by then, it might be that a whole lot of countries have legalized marijuana and we have more data that it might be a good thing. Now, here's what I think you should do. Be an advocate. It's all well and good voting for something, but voting doesn't change minds. I do very much subscribe to the idea that there are other political actions aside from voting. Now, here's something that would be interesting and could actually put it back on the table in 3 years. Maybe not the best way, but it'd be an interesting way. And it would only work if enough people did it as well. And it would require something like ranked choice voting, so this is seeming less and less likely the more that I say it. But if we had ranked choice voting, imagine putting your first vote as the legalised marijuana party. If they were to get 5% of the votes, then they'd get into Parliament, and that would probably put legalising cannabis back on the table. Be interesting to see, but probably not the best way to go about it. Also, there are the special votes, but I'm not going to sit around being like, well, we've got to wait for the special votes, they'll definitely legalise marijuana, because if they don't, then you're only going to be disappointed. But anyway, that is it for this video. Oh hey, Biden's leading in Pennsylvania now. I know this has been stressful no matter what side of the aisle you're on, so rather than doing my normal outro, here's something a bit more relaxing to calm people down.